Everything was going perfect on our Cuban vacation until the resort physician, security, and management showed up at our room on New Year's Day to share the news that one of us had tested positive with a low viral load for COVID. The doctor encouraged us to ask for a new test when we arrived as our viral load was so low. The resort instructed us to stay isolated in the room until the following day when transportation would separate us and take the positive case to the COVID hotel, as the ambulance had arrived to transport us to isolation. When arriving at the front, 3 guests were instructed to get into the ambulance for transportation to an unknown location. We were transported from our resort by Cuban ambulance to a 2-star COVID hotel named Apart Hotel Azul. As we drove up to the property, it was sectioned off, directing us to the entrance where the medical staff in green scrubs and face masks instructed us to follow. The lack of understanding of Spanish added some anxiety as we could not understand what was happening entirely. A guy from Toronto, who also understood Spanish, tried to bridge the gap between the medical staff and the 3 of us that had arrived. We were shown to our room and expected to share accommodations, 2 per room in a unit that housed 4 people. We were all strangers, so we expressed concern about sharing accommodations with people who tested positive for COVID. Within an hour, the medical staff came back, removed us from the room, and told us we would be moving to another location as the doctor said this location had hit capacity. It took about 5 hours before we were sent to another site. During this time, with much pleading to be tested again, the doctor had agreed to do another COVID test. Around 5 p.m., we were escorted back to the front of the property, where cheers greeted us from others who first thought we had tested negative and were on our way home. We explained that they were moving us to another property, and 2 women from Ontario told us we were so lucky, as from Instagram, the place looked so much better than where we were. We felt a sense of relief. When we arrived at the new location, it was a former Malia Kayakoko, now the Sol Kayakoko. The property had been closed, the pools emptied, and we were instructed to stay in our room but were given single accommodation. While this is still a far cry from our vacation accommodations, it was far superior than where we had just left. By 9 p.m. the same night, I was given the all clear that my second test had came back negative, and I was assured that I would be sent back to my resort. The message was that it would take place the following day, but the next day turned into 2.5 days away from my family in a COVID hotel after testing negative for the virus. 2 of us were released with enough time to make it to the airport to catch a return flight back to Canada on January 4th.